My guest today is Professor Mukti Kanta Mishra. He is president and founder of Centennial University. Today, Professor Mukti is going to share us his experiences he developed from across the world. And we are also going to discuss about how technology is helping a nation to improve socioeconomic. Welcome, Professor Mukti.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm also very privileged to be in your show.
And let me start with this question. Can you please tell us about your university and what makes your university unique? I know that your university is highly, working on technology transfer and skill integration. Tell us about that.
Okay, our university is around 11 years old, but the institutes are 25 years old. So the institutes were combined together, and we became a university in the state of Odisha, which is on the east coast of the country. And it is between Bengal, which is Calcutta, and in South Madras, it falls in the trunk line. And we, as a state, have a lot of mineral resources, long coastline, and we also, and the GER, gross enrollment ratio, Odisha was, or it still is lagging behind the national average. So our focus as an education provider was very clear that we wanted to have university campuses in the remote areas, in the tribal regions, and also to integrate practical aspects of the education. So the concept of skill university, and we have been involved in the skilling process from 2006. So the skilling is a very, very important part of the whole delivery of education, especially higher education. But at the university, we also run schools. We run also the basic technical education, which we call ITI. And we also have diploma, then degree program, master's program, and also PhD program. We as a university, we have from KG to PG plus PhD. So the entire sector of education we cover within the university ecosystem. And we are spread all over the state. So we are in south, north, east, and west of the state. So in all four corners of the state, we are present with the same model, that with a school, with the school next, and then we go to the diploma, degree, postgraduate, and PhD programs. And for every course, we have brought in technology which is appropriate, which is relevant, and then skill which is also required. So we have a school of agriculture, we have a school of technology, we have school of management, we have school of science, okay? And all these programs which I have mentioned, skill is very, very important and intrinsic part of the delivery.
And you have taught in many universities across the world, and you have taught in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Africa, in China, and even in your home in India. And how this all experience helped you to establish the university, and how it helps you that you are changing the life of people. So how your experience helped you, my question is.
Look, I am not from academic. I am from corporate world. I worked in the resource companies for many years. And before I moved to academics, and my education also I changed from my economics background to management to, again, to come to teaching. I focused on corporate governance, on marketing, and also in ethics, business ethics. All these were my specialization post my corporate life. And I started my teaching career in Australia, in my own university, Victoria University. Then I, of course, as part of the Australian universities where I was involved in Melbourne, I'm still involved with Australian universities in a big way. So I used to teach in many countries which you mentioned about China or Singapore or Malaysia. And also I went to Senegal. In Africa, I've only taught in Senegal, not in many countries, only in Senegal. So there I taught for a few years. But those kind of, the involvement and kind of association led me to believe more and more that the education must be skill integrated. Education must link to competency. It is nothing to do with the degree, but the degree must have appropriate level of learning which is skill, that every engineering student who passes out of our university. So we have electronic vehicle EV, we have transformers, we have wood engineering, we have the farms which we produce agriculture products. We work with these 700 farmers in 1,300 acres of land where we produce value-added rice. We have our own dairy unit, we have our food extraction unit, we have our bakery unit. So, and we produce vermicompost. So all courses are very production centric. So teaching, training, design, products, production are combined to make the course different. So this is a new age university, which I have gathered the experience from many countries, and we have created a new kind of university here.
And let me forward this question to you again. And how are you utilizing technology in a way that improving economy of your nation? Because we do have so many universities in our country, more than 41 universities are here in Ethiopia. And how utilizing technology is effective in a way that improving economy of the nation?
Okay, let me put this way. Everybody is talking about Industry 4.0. Okay, how can you have Industry 4.0 unless and until education is also 4.0? So the technology which we provide in teaching and learning will be helpful to deal with the industrialization, new technology, whether it's 3D, AR, VR, hybrid reality, virtual reality, augmented reality, 3D platform, 4D platform. All these things which are being used in the industry must be part of the university ecosystem, so that the students, when they become employable or they go for employment, they have the required skill. So in our university ecosystem, though we are a private university, we do not get any government funding. We have our own 3D lab. We have our AR, augmented reality and virtual reality lab. We have the 3D platform. And always we go for upgrading the technology, especially on testing and measurement. We upgrade all our machines and equipment according to the need of the industry. So when I told you that we are very, very production-centric university, you can, and these productions are not prototypes, these are all real-life commercial products. You cannot compete in the market unless or until your machines and equipment are up to the industry standard. So all our labs, unlike many universities in the world, not like American universities, I'm not talking about American universities, many universities, they use prototypes, they use a replica of the real machine. But all our tools, equipment, machines are real life machines, what is used in the industry. So to cope up with the, the industrialization and the technology transformation, the entire ecosystem of the university is upgraded year by year, year after year, to keep the pace with that.
Okay, that's good. And let me add this question again. If you can say something about vocationalizing education, what does it mean by vocationalizing education? Because we have TVET college here, colleges that are working on technical and vocational education. Tell us about that again.
Okay, look, the problem with the entire world, it is not about Ethiopia's problem or it is about India's problem, it's the entire world's problem. What has happened? The moment we say vocationalization of education, we only focus in the TVET segment in a silo. We say TVET sector. So TVET sector, higher education sector, school sector, it is not going to work that way. The TVET, what is called, whatever the technical vocational education, vocationalization of education is a mindset change. It's a paradigm shift in our approach to delivering the education, whether it is in the school, it is in the post-school, it is in the diploma program, it is the graduate program, in the postgraduate program. So what does it mean? India has come out with a national education policy, with a new education policy which has come out in 2020. In that, they have said about the vocationalization of education. Vocationalization of education is meaningless unless and until, or what it implies that you have to integrate skill into delivery of education. and you have to create a choice in the school. Suppose a boy is not doing good in the school, he has no option. So vocationalization of education is especially freeing up the mind to see the alternative path of going into education, number one. Number two, whatever education is being delivered, the vocational education, that means the skill component, must become the ingredient of the delivery. It should be intrinsic ingredient of any education from class 8 to the post-graduation, so that when somebody passes out with a degree, he or she has a commensurating competency in one of the areas. For example, you are a mechanical engineer. Mechanical engineer is a core area, but that's not a professional area. So you can be an automotive engineer, you can be an aeronautics engineer, you can be a maritime engineer, you can be just an engineer dealing with any machine and equipment, you can be a computer numeric controlled CNC operator, you can be anything. So your core can be mechanical or core can be physics, it doesn't matter. But what is your specialization? That's why the competency or the skill in education should address 6 things. One, numeracy, which is numbers. Literacy, somebody should be able to comprehend what he reads and also communicates. Then you have core skill. That's what your course, whether you are in physics, chemistry, mathematics, engineering, management, doesn't matter. But that should also link in the profession where you want to go. So that's where it is called vocationalization of education. Vocationalization starts where the formal education ends. That is not the way it should be, but it should be main ingredient of the entire learning, teaching, and also going forward in your career. So then you have communication and life skills, and you have the risk-bearing skill. So these are the numeracy, literacy, core skill, professional skill, communication and life skill, and then entrepreneurship skill or the risk-bearing skill. These skill sets, which I described you, 6 sets of skill sets, should be part of education. It can be entire, it can be part, depending on the level of education which you are delivering.
And what can you say about the relationship between your country, India, and Ethiopia, especially in terms of education? Because I know many people who are working in the university from India. What do you say about the relationship between your country and our country, Ethiopia?
Look, Ethiopia is a peaceful country and a very loving country. I use Ethiopian Airlines to go to China, and I love the airlines. You have a fantastic airline. I have never been to Ethiopia. But what you are doing, trying to hire Indians to go and work, is not a sustainable model. Instead, what you should do, your students should come to India, like university like Centurion. There will be many other universities. I can't talk for other universities, where they can be properly skilled. Whether it is a science, engineering, doesn't matter. They can be properly skilled. They can get their education in partnership. They can get a joint degree, both Indian degree and Ethiopian degree, and go back and work in your country. That should be the focus of all universities. That send your kids, you deliver the theoretical part, send them to India for the practical, for the action learning, for the real life experience, for the vocationalization of their profession, and go back and work in Ethiopia. While it is a fantastic that our people can go and work there, I am very proud of it, and thank you Ethiopia for that. But that is not a long-term model. Long-term model, people like you should come here, get the exposure, and like we are now getting 150 students from Nigeria, they are coming next month for 4 years course. So we have a special, the government of Nigeria is funding them. So Ethiopian government should send management 20, engineering 50, science 30, a batch of students who will come, learn, go back and do. So, and also we can be used for training your teachers, training your professionals who will go back to Ethiopia and work for the motherland. Instead of getting, whoever goes from India, Ethiopia is not their motherland. They go for earning. They don't go for to deliver the emotional value. you need people with emotional value. That is the Ethiopians who have to build it. Okay, I'm very happy Indians are going and making dollars, bringing India. That's one model, but that's not a sustainable model. It is Ethiopian must contribute to Ethiopia, your own motherland. So for that, why don't you take the best? Suppose India can provide you, for example, we can train people, whether it is transformer, electrical engineers, we can train people on mechanical engineers. We have one of the fantastic institutes on allied health sector, not the MBBS. I'm not talking about doctors, all the allied health and paramedics. But it is about X-rays, about the blood testing or testing of things, or it is anesthesia, whether it is what you call it, dialysis. All those things people can come and get trained from 6 months to 4 years. Optometricians or optometrists, all those things we can train people and they can go back and work in Ethiopia. That's how your institutions will grow, economy will grow, country will grow. And that's how when they get the value from India and go back there, the relationship between these two countries also will grow. But now it is like Indians going and working there. That becomes a place of work because they are not going to stay there permanently. Even if they stay, their commitment to India will always remain. Instead, we should get Ethiopians more and more, invest in them, get them ready, who go and serve there.
Well, Professor, great. And let me forward you this question again. Let's talk about entrepreneurship, because your university is highly investing on entrepreneurship, which means skill development. And what do you say about entrepreneurship, how it helps one nation to improve its socio-economic and political standards?
Okay, look, the big companies, whether it is a Coca-Cola, Microsoft, IBM, or GE, Boeing, Airbus, name any company, because all technology, automation, new jobs for human beings are not being created. Okay, so there are not many. Earlier, during when I was from the college or during my time, 30 years time, the golden era of job creation for human beings got over by 2008. It has been almost 12 years. Now it is all technology. Okay, but human race, human population is also growing. So how do you deal with that? So you have to be either self-employed or you have to be an employer. So that's what I normally say. You cannot be a job consumer. You have to be a job creator. So in that it brings in the question, why, how? So you have to be what I call them nano entrepreneurs, when means employing yourself. Then you become mini entrepreneurs. So when you use your family and friends, create jobs or create products which create jobs, and then you become mini and micro entrepreneurs. So that's how every university must focus to create job creators, not job consumers. So and that cannot be possible unless until you build the capacity, competency in the students through the vocationalization of education, skill integration. All these things have to be part of their learning. So the world cannot create any more jobs. So you have to create jobs. To create jobs means you have to be a self-employed or an entrepreneur. That's why I told you the 6 skill sets which one has to have: risk-bearing or entrepreneurial skill. So entrepreneurial skill is part of the education delivery and it must be in every country. For that, the teachers have to understand what is enterprise and entrepreneurship. First thing, there is a difference between enterprise management or enterprise creation and entrepreneurship. Okay, you can go and work as part of any organization as an enterprise management. Okay, you can help to establish somebody an enterprise, but to be an entrepreneur is a different ballgame altogether. Okay, so that's how the jobs you have to self-create. No need, it's very difficult to create hundreds and thousands of jobs because the youth are passing out in hundreds and thousands. So it is better that from day one, people are put into that framework to think how to become job creator by being self-employed, nano-entrepreneurs, mini-entrepreneurs. Okay, if somebody has money to become micro-entrepreneur, that's fine. But the focus should be nano, novo, and mini. So that's how you do. And that's how you use yourself, your family, your community. So it's a all community. And then one has to be very careful the enterprise. which you will create as an entrepreneur, not you will manage, must use, consume local resources, and whatever they produces, whether service or goods or semi-goods, semi-services, should be consumed locally. Don't depend on external market. I'm not saying don't do it, but try to avoid depending on the external market.
Wow, great. Thank you. And I want you also to share your scholarly view about practical learning and theoretical learning. How do you compare the two, approach of teaching and learning in higher learning institutions?
Hey, look, there has to be a balance. I'm not saying that you will replace the entire theoretical learning with practical learning. Definitely there has to be a balance, but how to balance it? Now, gone are those days when you used to have thick books. You go to the library, now everything available online. People love to read, learn through online, and Google, or why call it Dr. Google, can teach you anything better than any class. So the theoretical learning must graduate to be a tutorial, one-to-one. People should be encouraged for the self-learning. I'm not talking about theory or practical. Theory should become more of theory, more of self-learning. Teachers should become tutors, and then you move to what we call it applied learning, and then action learning. So there is a theoretical learning or traditional learning, applied learning, and action learning. Teachers must learn to unlearn what they have learned and now co-learn with the students. Try to understand what I'm saying. The practical, theoretical, forget about it. Normally, all teachers, they will teach in the class, go to the lab for the practice. I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying, the theoretical learning can be self-learning. Teachers can become tutors, and teachers can become now co-learner with the students, both on practical, which is the applied learning, and next level they have to move now. Teachers also have to graduate to the next level called action learning. So there has to be a balance, and every university should not do everything. The universities which want to focus on more on research, they can also be low in teaching. Universities can focus on more on teaching, low in research, and in teaching people can also be high in theoretical learning and low in practical and action learning. Universities can be high in action learning and applied learning and low in theoretical learning. So the government's job is there to make a policy for all. Now what is happening? One policy fits all. No, you have to give a choice to the institutes how they want to grow in delivering the education to serve the country, serve the community, serve the society, and serve the universe. Because ecology comes now. There are natural disasters which are part of our life. There is a food crisis, there is water crisis, there are environmental, the oxygen crisis, and there are so many, the nature is behaving very differently. So these are the part of these are not part of our learning as of now. These are the aspects will become the part of learning, and that will not happen unless and until you make students and teachers to think productive. And how you become productive? That doing the action learning and applied learning together along with the theoretical learning. Once you become productive, you will respect the mother nature, you will respect the sun, moon, sky, water, and earth. So that should become part of ingredient or part of the educational ingredient. And for that, one person needs to think productive and then act productive. And that is possible educational institutions when they allow that platform to think and act productive.
You are also intervening in some sectors of your university, and you are intervening in agriculture and a green legacy and others, of course. What are the importance of such interventions, especially in solving people's problems?
Yeah, what I will do, like farmers, let us take example of farmers. Farmers in area where we operate, the tribal farmers, which also who are marginal farmers. The marginal farmers means what, they have 2 acres of land, 1 acre of land, below 5 acres of land. Okay, some marginal farmers who have half an acre of land and then survive on that. So what they do, there are 3 things. The problem is that they depend on the rain god, and they don't have irrigation. Number one. Number two, climate change is becoming part of our routine. Number three, the resources, if one crop fails, they don't have money to get the resources to replant it. So how do we address this? These are the three issues which farmers are facing. So what we have done, we have now helping farmers to give them seeds. Okay. And what seed? That is climate resistant. That means it doesn't need water much. It can operate and grow, or it can actually cultivate it with the low water. Number two. Number three, we take back what they produce. We try to de-risk farmers from going to the market. First thing, we are giving seed. Second thing, we are helping them, and that seed is climate resistant or climate change resistant, and it consumes low water, and it can grow twice a year. And how do we do that? We assign our agriculture students to work with every farmer. Okay, practically our students live in villages with the farmers in their house, help them to grow this. We cannot do the entire country. We cannot do the entire state. We have taken the responsibility of surrounding areas of our university. So if every institute, every university does that, itself, every drop is required to make an ocean. Okay, so we think that our contribution, even if it's a drop, but the 700 farmers are not now dependent on mother, or rain god, are now being de-risked from the vagaries of natural disasters. They are de-risked from the market fluctuations. They are de-risked of getting borrowing money from the bank and any other source. So we have de-risked them as an institution. You must have heard the word called CSR, corporate social responsibility. But what I call is an institutional social responsibility. We have an institutional social responsibility, that is to protect, preserve the local stakeholders.
Well, finally, if you have anything to add from any angle that I didn't mention.
Ethiopia and India have a fantastic relationship. You, through your TV channel, through your news network, you must nurture that relationship further. You must impress upon the government to send, to train them, to skill them, to build their capacity, competencies, and they go back and work in Ethiopia. We will be also happy to retrain your teachers, whether it is a school, college, vocational or TVET institute, it doesn't matter.
This is all about our discussion for this edition. Till next edition, goodbye.